Okay, everybody, we're gonna get started because we have an exciting guest presenter today. So we're gonna try to keep our regular business to 30 minutes, which I know is might be tough, but we'll see. Okay, so the guest presenters tonight, if you haven't seen before, is that we're actually gonna have the city do a Narcan training. If you're not familiar with what Narcan is, it helps when people are experiencing opioid overdoses. So we're really excited to have them give us a training on that. We're going to get to that in a minute, though. So in the interest of time, I think I'm going to start with Sergeant Burford and Officer Defio, who are on the line. So I'm going to let them give some updates from Zone 1.
Hey, great. Thanks, everyone. Good evening. Thanks for having us. See some familiar faces out there. Good to see everyone. Hopefully, I'll see you guys in person soon. Before I get on some of the topics, Eric, do you want to go ahead with the stats?
Oop. I think he's muted.
So, guys, in Troy Hill in the last 30 days, 30 reports, 4 arrests. There was only 2 Part 1 crimes. One was at the Unimart. A male exited the Unimart and was robbed by, it turned out it was a known actor. It's one of those stories that, at first he didn't know the guy, then he knew the guy, then he drank beers with the guy a couple times. So I think there's a little more to that. Detectives are following up. And the second is a burglary, but it's of a boat and it's down along the river. It just kind of gets tied in with Troy Hill because of the proximity and location along the Riverwalk. So one thing I wanted to talk about, I haven't been here for a few months, but I want to try to get the feedback from everyone there of what has anyone seen a decrease in activity at the laundromat? Is that fellow Bernie still around? I've been up there. I was up there today. I haven't seen him, but I'm trying to get a feel of whether he's still up to causing problems up there or not.
I think that the laundromat itself is vacant, but I think that there are some people still around the neighborhood. Those individuals maybe have not left the hill. Is that correct, Evan?
I haven't seen Barney, but I've been told that he's around, and some of his cohorts are hanging in kind of a mini tent city on Elbow.
Yes, we did discuss the tent city on Elbow Street at length at the last meeting, which we can get into. Anybody have any other comments they want to add to the potentially unhoused and or the folks that used to be kind of hanging around the laundromat situation?
I mean, just to be clear, because it wasn't clear, because the laundromat is not only just closed temporarily, but everything is out of it. So I don't believe there's not going to be any business activity in that space for a while. So that would no longer be, if there were an interest in kind of like that would not be the place that those individuals would gather right now.
All right, so the laundromat's out of play.
Yeah.
Travel down the street. I saw someone going in there today. I don't know what was going on.
Oh, okay.
Oh, interesting.
So maybe like
Where's the homeless encampment?
So there are some folks that we know of that are on Elbow Street, near our community garden, and then I believe someone. Do you remember where that street was that someone posted about in Troy?
Lowry Bridge. Let me check that really quick.
So I think it's the back of Elbow Street going on to Pig Hill, Lowry Street.
Okay. Did you hear
that were burnt down there previously?
Did you hear that, Sergeant Burford? I know it might be hard to hear.
I did, yeah. Okay, so we have a dedicated 2 officers right now between Zone 1 and Zone 2 who are traveling around with social workers who have been giving the unhoused a lot of assistance and bringing in different social services. So I'll let them know tomorrow morning at roll call of the individuals at Elbow Street, and they'll go up and see what they can do to kind of help that out.
Okay. There may be a secondary location. I know initially there was a problem at our last meeting. We discussed at some length that there were some folks camping on someone's private property. I think they have moved, but I think they've moved basically down the hill a little bit. So I think they're still
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Other than that, we're here for any questions or concerns. That's all I really have to present.
On that, while we're on this topic, Morgan, would you like to give an update on the Elbow Street situation, since I know you have been in correspondence with the city's office?
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know, do we have anybody from Councilman Wilson's office on?
Julianne's online.
Okay.
Yep.
So I know Julianne, please update me if miss anything here, but, you know, we have reached out to Councilman Wilson's office, Zone One and some other folks just to kind of, address the concerns about folks who are, unhoused around Elbow Street. So right now, you know, like the guidance that we got, and again, Julianne, and anyone from Zone One, you know, add on to this. But you know, if there are folks who are experiencing any sort of health emergency, if they're on private property, that is something where you can call 911. The Office of Community Health and Safety and others are aware that we have folks living in tents in that space. They have made social services have made contact with those folks. And so there are people that are checking in. Several of them are now on housing lists, is my understanding. And so that is a process that takes a while, but it is good news and for everyone involved. And those are the primary things that were sort of like suggested to me. The mayor's office does have a new, I believe there's a new policy around the approach to moving encampments, but I can't remember enough details to speak to that, but you can find it online. I think Ray is actually the one who let me know that that was released recently, and I was able to locate that online. So there is an updated policy around how those situations are handled by the city. But I just don't want to speak to details because I don't remember them accurately.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Morgan, for that update. Obviously, you know, as we discussed last time, we want to see these people make contact with, you know, social services and find housing if it is available to them. So we can certainly keep you updated on that, Sergeant Burford. And Julianne, do you have anything else you want to add to that conversation? I know that you were on those emails. I didn't know if you had any other color you wanted to add.
No, I mean, not really. I haven't gotten any other further information from the administration side of things, but there is a decommission committee that is reviewing all of the encampments across the city. And they meet, I believe, twice a month. This kind of just started. So if there are issues, if, you know, Elbow Street is something that's continuing to be an issue, or you're noticing other encampments within the neighborhood, to let our office know so we can let this group of individuals aware of that, and then they can do what's necessary to connect the Office of Community Health and Safety with the individuals who are unhoused with social programs and try to get them into housing. So as long as we have an open dialogue, I'm happy to continue pushing it to the right people that can help with the situation.
Okay, great. On that note, does anybody have any questions for the Zone 1 officers while we have them here? Yes.
Do they have any progress on taggers? They're tagging buildings and stuff? 'Cause I was working down Hines Mountain.
Graffiti?
Yeah, with the new owners, and they've been in that place and we couldn't stop them.
Where are you talking about? Is there a specific instance, like a specific area?
It's been going on since the plant closed. Now they're on the front.
Oh, are you talking about like down by the Heinz, like
Yeah.
down by the old Heinz
Yeah, I
factory?
was working with the new from another guy.
Got it.
And it's
Okay.
just, man, there's cameras now, you still can't catch them.
Um,
Plus, it's all over the north side.
Yeah.
They tagged the bridge and.
Sergeant Burford, one of our neighbors is asking for an update on tagging graffiti that's been going on apparently very frequently down by the old Heinz factory river and in other locations.
Yeah, so I spoke with the project manager down there, and this was probably towards the beginning of the summer, maybe spring. And at that time, they were doing a lot of demo work, but they did bring it to our attention of the taggers. But at that time, you know, what we did was we have directed patrols going through there at night, but the jump that the guys who are down there, you know, causing the problems have on us, it's almost impossible to catch them. And at the time, the damage they were doing with the graffiti on stuff that was being destroyed, discussing it with the project manager, it was, hey, let's refocus this whenever we start getting to the point where, you know, damage and they're beginning to create things, because at that time they were just knocking down a lot of walls, and a lot of the stuff would have been putting resources into trying to go after individuals that would be very tough to catch. And the damage at that time kind of, you know, what's the point of going after this if what a lot of their tagging is getting ripped down. Now, I did see that a lot of that has spread to other areas that's more visible, and, you know, obviously we have an interest in that. So what I, you know, speaking with the people that worked on there, really come up with is, we'll continue to our patrols at night, as tough as that is to kind of get to those individuals. A lot of them access areas strictly from like the train tracks and such. But our graffiti task force is aware of that, and it's been brought to their attention. But I think we're really going to step things up whenever we start seeing that, you know, they're beginning to build down there and develop. That's our big concern, is whenever they're down there and they're starting to progress where they're, you know, to really get ahead in the project, is you know, of things being stolen, things being damaged, things being vandalized.
Got it. Okay. Thank you for that. Does that satisfy you, Tom? Right?
Well, for your buildings, you're already running that.
Sounds like maybe maybe we can get maybe we can get back in touch with Sergeant
Yeah.
Burford, the project
No, I guess he's
manager.
doing what he can.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not involved in the project anymore.
Sure. Cool. Yes, Penny.
Is there a number for the homeless community on health and safety? Aware of any other?
Great question. Sergeant Burford, do you have a number for the folks that they can call if they have a if they want the team to come out, if they have a homeless an unhoused encampment or population they want the social workers to hit?
I think it would be that office of I think it would be that office of human resources. I'm sorry, what?
Community
got
health and
somebody
safety.
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm getting beeped in on. I'm getting cut off here. But yeah, that's who the sergeant who runs that unit. That's the office she works out of. So that would be the one to call.
Okay, we'll find a number. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions before Sergeant Burford signs off? Yes.
Is there a removal if it's on, for graffiti, is there a removal if it's on like a public sign or like a no outlet sign or stop sign or things like that? Is there a process to get that removed?
Did you hear that, Sergeant Burford?
I know in the past we had like graffiti busters that would come out and do that. Oftentimes with private property is one thing, public property. I guess, you know, the 311 complaint, just putting in a 311 complaint, and that would get over to Public Works to have that cleaned up. Private property, I guess they have to go through their own separate channels to have that taken care of.
Got it. Okay. 311. Anything else? Anybody online?
Yeah, just gonna bring up the same age-old problem that like no one's stopping at any stop sign anywhere in Troy Hill. So if you parked a patrol car anywhere up here, I'm sure you could make the city revenue, you know, all sorts of money in a single day, because top of Pig Hill, Lay and Froman, down by Provident, people are just blowing through every single one of those ones.
So again, listen, I'm not trying to pass the buck here. All I'm trying to do is kind of create accountability. I would ask for something like that. So I handle all the 311 complaints in Zone 1, and I haven't got any complaints regarding those infractions. So what I would ask you to do is submit a 311 complaint. It creates a paper trail. It creates accountability on the officer. And what's going to happen with that is it's going to get sent over to our traffic division. So up there in the past, you guys have seen like the motorcycle officer in the past. He's the guy that gets tasked with addressing that, and he's the one that's actually able to make an impact on it. As far as in the zone, again, I'm not trying to say that we can't handle that, but with the resources we have, with the amount of officers I have, I mean, I'm running shifts right now with 7 guys to cover Troy Hill to Brighton Heights to you know, Summer Hill. So I cannot dedicate go do traffic in an area based on complaints. It's going to get kicked over to traffic, and that's the truth. And we're doing the best we can with the resources we have, but unfortunately, our numbers are at a point now where you know, the luxuries we've had in the past of having the guys out on the beat officers and things of that, it's kind of getting pulled away from that. So the 311 will get that over to the proper channel so it can be addressed.
All right, great, thank you.
Thanks.
Great. Submit some 311 requests. Okay. Yes.
Is it the same answer about signage for no trucks on Rialto Hill? Or I think some years ago, some sort of limiter. Should that also be fund or
So
not?
I think that might be a wraparound conversation for maybe part of a larger strategy that we can work with Julianne and Councilman Wilson's office on. It's time to revisit that. Yes, David.
And for 311 complaints, is there any way to copy your office officer on those, just so you can kind of track those? Is that something you guys do, just so it's on your radar?
Well, I mean, they send it to the best, the unit that would be able to affect it the best. So our traffic unit, our motorcycle officers is who that would get sent to. Sending a patrol car up there, it's not going to come to the zone. It's going to go to our traffic division. Sometimes they do come across our desk. Like I got a couple today for different areas in the zone for people running stop signs. And again, it's on my radar. I'm aware of it. But all I did was kick it back to traffic because I don't have the officers to dedicate to a stop sign right now or for something like that. I do not have it on a daily basis. We're running with 7 guys, guys going to court, things of that nature. So right now we're doing the best with what we have. Again, I'm aware of some of them. I haven't seen any Troy Hills recently. I know it's an issue though. So I know the top of Rialto Street has always been an issue. So if you send a 311, I'll let my guys know about it. It's going to be best to go to a traffic officer.
Thank you.
And me passing the buck right here and telling you to do that or asking you to do that creates paper. I could surely call over in the morning and talk to a sergeant at traffic and say, hey, can you guys send someone up to Troy Hill on a stop sign? And they'll say, yeah. And that could go in one ear out the other. He could forget about it in the next half hour. Who knows what he has going on? But when you submit the 311, it gets attached a number. That number is now in the system assigned to an officer. Like when I assign a 311 complaint to an officer, like if I get a call about someone blocking, a handicap spot or a fire hydrant, and I send someone over, they have to respond to that, something like that nature. It creates the accountability that makes someone follow up on it.
That's great points all around. We'll hit the 311. And Evan, I'm gonna add Rialto to our agenda for December.
Okay.
When we have slightly more time to tackle that. Okay, any other Zone 1 police questions? Great. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Sergeant Burford. Appreciate your time, as always.
Great. Thanks for having us, guys. Take care.
We already talked about the Elbow Street issue, which we had discussed last meeting. The other big city update that I wanted to give, and I don't actually think I see anybody on the call from the mayor's office, is that so first of all, let me back up. Thank you to everybody who filled out the city budget request forms earlier this year. We just saw a draft of the 2024 city budget, and there is funding for Cowley to the tune of, I believe, $100,000.
No, million.
$1 million. Oh, I'm sorry.
Just a zero.
I dropped a zero. Oh my God. Yes. Yeah, that's all for that. I'm thinking of the design phase. Yes. So the system works. Your feedback was heard, and this is proof that when you, like the 311 number where things are tagged, when you're in the system and you're hitting something with what you've got, they're listening to it. The city is embarking right now on like a kind of a second round of budget listening sessions. There was one in Troy Hill last week. If you haven't attended them before, or you didn't attend this last one, I recommend you look them up. I believe there's one in the East End, a couple other spots in the area. They have city department reps from all throughout city government at tables there that you can kind of go around and talk to each of them, talk about concerns, bring things up that you see, lacking. So, keep an eye out for those. And Morgan, what you want to add to it?
I just want to say, I don't know his last name, but I want to shout out Chip, in the city, who was fully prepared for us to come lambaste him about the Cowley budget and had all the facts ready for us, like at the last meeting. So Chip was able to explain that $1 million right now will take us through a re-engagement of the community in terms of the planning and just really kind of get to the design portion, and that there is intent to allocate more money over the next several years. Obviously, they only allocate 1 year at a time, right? So like you see that 1 million for planning, and then the rest of it will be added once that planning is finished and they know the scope of the project. So yeah, he was ready to tell me what that was for and that there was more on the way. So
Shout out to Chip.
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 I don't know his last
Yay.
name. Thank you, Chip.
We don't know Chip's last name, but
I
he
think
is.
you're a pessimist or a realist, however you want to put it, but who's asking you right now?
That's a great question.
Yeah, I
Bob.
mean, that's fair.
Because, okay, we got $1 million, we've had 3.5 million in the past?
come in, have a seat. We're gonna get to you in one moment.
Right.
Yeah, we need to spend this million like before the next budget, so.
So, unfortunately, Rebecca and Lindsay from the mayor's office are not on this call tonight, but we will follow up. So the point of this right now, the last we heard is that there was a feasibility study being done. They were looking at the physical groundwork, the physical building of the Cali Rec Center. Ideally, they have a report that they can actually bring back to the folks who will be doing the design. At that point, we need to go all hands on deck with community engagement in the sense that I want to hear from every person in Troy Hill. I want to hear from every person in Spring Garden, Spring Hill, East Town, the North Side. Anybody who could theoretically use that rec center needs to have a voice in what that rec center's purpose is going to be. Renters, homeowners, people who go to Provident, bring their kids to the playground, come to the splash park, whatever. I want them all. So that's going to be our next hurdle. When that happens, you will be sick of all of us in your inbox, I'm sure. So yes, that's going to be the next step.
I mean, I guess like, but truly, like, no one's gonna be discussing that next budget until we get back to this process in May of next year. So that's really when, you know, if there's a next push, that's when it is. But assuming the budget passes the way that it is, that can change. But assuming the budget passes the way that it is, we have the money to do the work for the next year, and then we start again in May.
So I need to write somebody's butt about keeping.
Or
Budget.
thank Councilman
Yes.
Wilson's office for also advocating for
Yes.
it, which is
Thank-
something else that we can do.
Yes, thank you to Councilman Wilson, who has been a great partner to us, and I think he really sees, I mean, he has a lot of Northside neighbors in his district. I think he sees the value of this rec center. We all see it, obviously, and so, you know, he has to, you know, someone has to stand up for Troy Hill and say, hey, can you put this in there? And so we appreciate him doing that.
Kids running the streets looking for something to do, so I keep firing them to work around the neighborhood.
Yeah.
But they need
They
help.
need way more,
They need
absolutely.
more. The families that have kids have no place to go.
You're absolutely right.
I'd love to have a
Seniors
gym I
don't
can
have
work
any
out.
places to go.
Yeah, you're sitting next, I feel like you two should be talking over there. You're talking the same language.
I had kids
Okay.
off my roof. I had kids on my roof today.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they were playing hide and seek on my roof.
I'm kind of impressed, low key.
I was too, but when I have chickens in the spring, I'm not gonna be happy.
That's true. Okay. In any case, so yeah, big Cali updates tonight. Again, thank you to everybody who's engaged that process so far. Again, though, not over. We are like literally at the beginning, basically. So, a couple other things. We have a lovely guest here for our Narcan training. We're gonna get to you in just a couple minutes. Sorry, we're moving along. WIC lines traffic calming. At the last meeting, we heard about neighbors. If you have been on WIC lines, you saw there was a car that ran into a house. Took out kind of a big chunk of the brick wall. Yeah, what was that? Yes. The neighbors are obviously dismayed by that, and especially the person whose house it was, and it's a big safety issue. So the debate last time was whether or not that was a city owned and maintained road, or if it was county or state or whatever. It's state, yes. Yeah, Janet's like, I'm on it. Julian and team had worked to confirm that, and they have put in a request through Sarah Inamorado's office to actually have PennDOT do a traffic and safety study, which will be commencing at some point in the next 2 weeks. So more on that when that returns, but basically they're going to hopefully be looking at things like speeding, again, you know, road design. I honestly don't even know what PennDOT really does besides the turnpike, but you know, you get the idea. Stop signs, yeah, exactly. So
It's a quarter mile driving strip.
what was that?
For some people,
A barrier? That's, yeah,
like
a safety.
large boulders or like
Yes.
or like a railing.
yes. And I'm really hoping ultimately, I mean, you know, even if you put 1 or 2 speed humps on that road, you
That
know,
would definitely
it would slow
that'd be
people
the
down.
best. Then the
Yeah,
person would
so
start buying.
anyway, pending the results, we'll see what we can get them to do for the folks on that street. I don't think I
Those that
see
have the
anybody.
windows open, like, hear that, Johnny?
What was that?
For those of
As I
us that
said,
have
the
the
name.
windows open all the time like we do,
Yeah,
it's been quieter.
good.
Hi.
I'm glad.
Number one.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It comes.
Hi there.
Oh, yes.
Hi, I'm sorry. I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Lindsay Powell. I'm the new state representative. And so I just wanted to introduce myself really quickly as you were talking traffic study. My sincere apologies, I couldn't be there tonight. I headed to another event in the district, but I did want to make sure to introduce myself, and myself for my staff will be at the next meeting, but just wanted to interject on the PennDOT study. All of the open case work and all the open inquiries that Sarah and Murado had, we're continuing. So if there's anything you need from our office, we're keeping the same office, 5154 Butler Street. But again, we'll be in the community in person, hopefully next time. But I just, apologies on interjecting. I just wanted to say hello and just put a little note in there about the PennDOT study.
Lindsay, thank you so much for attending, and we're so happy to have you. While we have you on mic here, is there anything else, any other updates you want to give for your office? We'll deviate from that for a second, just to have you update anything else you have.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And again, my sincere apologies for not being in person with you all tonight. We are going to, some of the bigger questions that folks have had is, what's happening with the office and constituent services. Everything is pretty much the same. So we are still here on Butler Street. We'll still be doing community meetings and coming to regularly hosted community meetings. We are down a staffer right now. So it's a little bit hectic with the reopening this new office, but we're doing the best we can to be all across the district in all of our beautiful neighborhoods in the 21st. Our numbers are still the same. So if you've called former Representative Sarah Namrato's office about anything, the number is still the same. Our office is still the same. We've just got a different little face out front. And so I'm very excited to be able to work with Troy Hill and really excited to hear about Cowley Rec as well. I worked at the city for several years. And so I know how hard fought getting that rec center funding is. So I'm very excited that that's coming down the pike. But as always, if there is anything you need from your state representative, we are here. We are open. Our hours are still 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And then we'll do some evenings by appointment. So if you're not able to come during the working hours, we want to work with your schedule. So we're excited to serve you, excited to get to work. And thank you so much for the time to introduce myself.
Amazing. Thank you. And no worries about not being here. That's why we do this hybrid situation. It works honestly pretty well, I think. So amazing. Any questions for Representative Powell?
Is there any update about those grants for the businesses?
Oh, great question, Janet. And actually that was next.
A person asked me.
Yeah. Mackenzie, do you want to give an update on the Neighborhood Initiative Fund?
Sure, we were awarded.
It's like $37,000.
That gets divided among how many businesses?
I think there's 5 or 6.
And there are specific projects. So Mackenzie put together a great grant. Thank you, Mackenzie. Excellent work. She talked to all the business owners. This is a grant that specifically helps the business district in a neighborhood. And so she went to basically each district, each business owner and said, hey, if you needed improvements to your property, what would we be doing? How can we make this more accessible for the community? How can we kind of breathe life into that? So yeah, $37,000. I understand that's spent and then reimbursed, right? And so Mackenzie will be working with the URA, the business owners, to kind of implement those projects.
Asked me.
Great. Well, if you want to drop the news, spread the word. Yes, amazing. Okay, great. Well, Janet, that was perfect time. That was my next bullet point. Okay, the last thing I have is not this Saturday, but next Saturday. Please join us in Troy Hill Citizens Park. We're having our annual Pigtoberfest community festival. It's from 12 to 4. We have some great live music that'll be there. We have Mr. Pig, Bill. He usually pulls up on site. He's roasting the pig all day. He'll be there at 7 a.m. bright and early. We also have Doodle's Dogs this year. If you had Doodle's Dogs yard sale, we're excited to have John back on site. We're gonna have pumpkin painting for kids of all ages, even adults. Raffle, we'll have a Troy Hill Citizens table there. We have some vendors set up to sell some wares, so that'll be a great day. 12 to 4. Come to Troy Hill Citizens Park and hang out. Did I miss anything about that event? Oh, I missed one big thing. Allegheny City Brewing is pouring beer as well at the event. So.
How does the vendor get?
They can email me. Okay, great. Oh, we'll give you a whole table.
Yeah, I was gonna
Troy
say,
Hill.
Bring your beads.
I've been telling people they have to have the membership. That's the right, that's the legal
That's what we did, yes,
If they
for,
don't have a membership, they buy a membership and they get to come in.
yeah, it's $10, so it's not too steep. And you're already a member, so you're good to go. Yeah.
But anybody else,
I have no idea.
Gallons and gallons and gallons of money.
Ben, I think, did leave, yeah, he was making honey, yeah. Brian has quite the, production going on over there, so.
I wonder who the ghost chili guy is.
I don't know.
You made ghost chili hot pot, and I wanted, anyway, that's,
I'm making ghost chili hot dogs.
you're making ghost chili hot dog?
Oh, there's the
Can
guy.
you bring that?
my friends were
It
making
should be ready then?
Great,
Actually, this is scorpion.
perfect, even better.
Yeah.
Which is higher
The
on
Reaper,
Scoville.
the Reapers and the Scorpions are the two highest. The Ghost, yeah, the Ghost is the next down. So, but it's not pure. It's not pure.
No, I
Like,
know.
if it's all that, it would melt your face.
Oh,
I
good.
understand.
Morgan's
No,
interested.
my
Yeah.
lovely wife Jane, who has been here, is a spice fiend. So yeah, the only meat that I make, the honey wine that I make, she loves when it's hot pepper meat.
Love it. Well, yeah, bring it to, I'll add you to my list for Pigtoberfest. Also on the events front, I know it's early, it seems crazy to think about the holidays, but we're planning for our Troy Hill tree lighting. I'm thinking maybe, that first Sunday, December 3rd, for our nice little homegrown tree at the monument, at Lay and Lowry. So we'll put out some information about that, but mark your calendars, usually do it in the early evening, get some lights on that tree.
Yeah, but when they put the
Yeah.
lights up, see if they can reset the switches.
Yes, I will. I'm gonna email Jay at Airborne and see what we
Yeah,
can
cause I
do.
think they tripped out.
Yeah.
And who's fixing the post that somebody did?
I'm not sure. Let's chat about that after the meeting.
Yeah, I wonder. If
Well,
Yeah.
I got the one we took out for the Christmas tree.
Oh, you did?
We put that in, they'll never go
Oh,
in there
that's
again.
right. You mentioned that. Yeah. Actually, I feel like we should talk to Sam about that because since it's the monument, we can figure out what we want to do about that.
City should be taking care of
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I guess it's not on our radar.
Well, we can put it on a 311 for starters, and I can add it to our list.
Okay, like everybody pick up your phone right now.
Right.
I know. Okay, before we close out our meeting, I do want to give, Julianne, did you have any other city updates from Councilman Wilson's office that you wanted to share?
No, you kind of went over the WIC lines update, which thank you. So we'll keep pushing on PennDOT for updates as time goes on. But no, we're just in budget season, and we were also very happy to see that $1 million for Cali in the preliminary budget. So just going through that process, and then once council receives the final submission from the mayor's office, that's when there will be public hearings. So that's when your community group should definitely come and advocate for the rec center. It really does help for other council members to hear what's needed in districts outside of their own, because council all votes on the budget. And then that has to be passed by the end of the year so that the city can go into 2024 with a balanced budget. So that's the process. But if anyone has questions, let me know.
Amazing. We will happily show up. And again, you will not hear you will hear too much from us probably. Yes, right. Oh, they still have them. They're still on the Engage website. Yeah, but we want to go back to the drawing board with the survey and everything, because the people that was pre-COVID, 2018. It was literally like a different world. So, anybody else online have any comments, thoughts, questions they want to share before we move to our in-person Narcan training? Yes.
So Christmas trees December 3rd, we're gonna get Christmas lights up before that?
The ones in the street?
Yeah.
We could get them up for you.
We should,
Mhm.
because,
Yeah.
we've already paid for that, right?
Yeah.
Don't we?
Well, we haven't paid for it yet for this year,
It's
but
kinda like,
yeah, we have the lights. Yes, we'll have to pay to have them put up.
we jump on that announcement early enough, we'll have them.
I don't want to do any tree trimming, right? I'm nervous about it.
It's growing too fast.
Oh, it's growing too fast. That's what I like to hear. I didn't know if that tree was going to survive. So, just because the soil is so we weren't sure how deep the soil is.
Well,
in
that
that
came
line.
they were doing some work down at PNC Park. The guy said, I can get get a crew here to put it out. That's how we got it.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, he snatched one from down PNC Park.
Great. It's doing great. Our tree's doing great. I'm excited to see it decorated this year. Okay, any other comments, questions, concerns? Okay, fabulous. We're gonna wrap our Trail Citizens Community Meeting. I'm gonna introduce, actually,
Hi, Malaysia.
Malaysia, amazing, and you are from the Office of
Community Health and Safety.
Amazing. So Malaysia's going to take us through Narcan training, and again, if you're not familiar with Narcan, we're going to hear all about that. If you are not signed up, if you're signed up to, please stay. We'll do the training. If you're not signed up and you want to stay, please do. If you stay long enough, you can have a board meeting after that. But if you can't, no worries. Yeah, that was it.
Which one of us gets to OD?
Hopefully nobody. Hopefully nobody. Yeah.
Let's be nice.
Hopefully nobody. With that, thank you everybody for coming. If you have specific questions for me about anything meeting related, as we give Malaysia a minute to get set up, you can feel free to ask.
When it came to the budget hearings, people in Spring Hill didn't know about it. People in Spring Garden, they said they would have come if they had heard about it.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, we distributed it to, I sent it to the Northside Leadership, conferences, like person who distributed it to all the neighborhoods, so we did send it out. It might be that the neighborhood organizations didn't like share that with their constituents. It did happen late, so next time we'll try to get it out earlier.
Spring Hill had a meeting a week before and they didn't say anything about it.
Yeah.
Were you able to contact the people I gave you
I
the
think-
numbers to get them from the appointment?
I did reach out, yeah.
They didn't.
I think the Allegheny Health people were booked, unfortunately. There's a lot of events going on. Yeah.
We wanted to show it.
Absolutely, yeah, the more the merrier. Okay, I'm gonna end our meeting online here, and how do you prefer, what format do you need? What do you need from us? Yes, please step up.
Chris Russell showed up.